Hi everyone, in today's video it's a little bit about the logistics of conference travel. Hi, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Caroline. I'm a lecturer here in the UK. I specialise and teach and research in physics. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. Our semester has just ended. We've just had the final week of exams and we're now into our summer season, which doesn't mean I get a massive long holiday. I will get some holiday at some point across the summer, but actually a lot of the summer is taken up with travel to conferences, writing research grants, getting papers out the door. And today I thought we could talk a little bit about the logistics of conference travel. I think it can sound quite lovely to friends when I say, I'm off to this conference in this location and this location. And it is great. That's one of the perks of being an academic, of being a scientist, is that I get to go to these academic conferences. A lot of them are returning back to being in person, which is brilliant. So it means I get travel, I get to physically see my collaborators and have proper networking sessions. But it does also mean that you have to arrange the logistics of getting yourself to these conference locations. And sometimes that can be non-trivial. So the first thing to bear in mind is whether you're traveling as an academic at a university or maybe you're employed with an industry, there's going to be travel processes, travel procedures, things you need to go through in order for your company or your university to book your travel. So let's start with the basics. Most companies, most universities are going to use some form of a travel agent to facilitate or to help with the booking part. Now, that could be an interface where you're actually just using some kind of app to put in your destination. It could be where you need to actually talk or communicate or email with a person at the end of a line who's going to help you make that booking. And so what that travel agent might do is they might look to secure flights for you. They might also be able to do your conference for you, your hotel booking, and they might be able to do some kind of logistics on the travel and transport between getting from an airport or a station to the actual conference venue. And then depending on which country you're traveling to, you might need to add in a visa. If you're going to the US, it could be an ESTA, depending on which country you're currently in and which country your kind of nationality is and which country you're looking to visit. And doing visas all takes time. So sometimes you might see an event last minute and think, I'd love to go to that conference. But if you can't actually get your paperwork to travel in time together, then you can't necessarily go in as a physical attendee, and you might have to attend, if they offer it, as an online member instead. So getting your visa sorted, getting your conference booking sorted, getting your conference registration sorted. Most of these conferences are going to have registration fees, so there'll be some kind of ticketing system that you need to sign up for. Sometimes if you're a student or a recently graduated student, it's well worth looking to see if they do a discounted conference rate. Lots and lots of conferences, will do this, which means that your ticket price is less than if you're going as a kind of a standard academic member of staff. It's also worth noting that some conferences actually will charge more if you're going to represent industry. So if you're representing the industry of a company where your company might stand to make profit out of the event, sometimes you'll notice that industry participants are charged one price, academics are charged another price, and then students are charged a discounted rate. Worth looking out for those things. It's also worth considering whether you want to go to any kind of conference banquet or gala dinner. Again, typically, especially these larger conferences will often have a banquet or a dinner or a gala event. Sometimes it's included in the ticket price, sometimes it's an add-on extra. They can be a brilliant opportunity to network and to talk with your colleagues, but they can sometimes drive the price of an event up. And obviously you can network and you can talk across the coffee sessions, in the morning, you can catch people. So it's nice to do it if you're able to do it, but I wouldn't say that you always have to go to the gala evenings. And actually sometimes if you're at a conference for a number of nights, you actually then do want to have a night or two by yourself. Because it can get quite intense when you're like in a conference all day, every day for a number of days in a row. And it's a real dilemma, and you have to sort of balance it because you've travelled to that venue to interact and to network with people. But at the same time, you need to make sure that you're also taking some well-being breaks, maybe going to the gym, going for a walk, seeing a bit of the local area. So just getting that balance right between attending the conference, meeting new people, meeting old collaborators, but also giving yourself a bit of a personal break, a bit of personal time. And there's no right or wrong with that. I think everybody has their own personal preference for how much they want to mix in and how much they want to get a bit of their own space. And then, of course, when you're actually at the conference, you need to think about your expenses. And universities, industries, they all have their own process for how they do this. So some people will be on a per diem rate. So their organisation will give them a flat rate, depending quite often on the country that they're visiting. And that flat rate covers maybe everything. So it could be covering all their food. Sometimes the flat rate covers all food and accommodation costs. But essentially, you can claim for that amount, but you can't claim any more than that. Other people will be on a receipt-based system, and that's where you need to keep your receipts from every meal, everything that you're buying to kind of eat whilst you're out there. And then you're putting in those receipts when you get back into the claim process. Quite often they're looking for itemised receipts because quite often there will be a policy surrounding alcohol. So whether you're allowed to drink alcohol with a meal, what time of meal you're allowed to drink alcohol, if alcohol's not covered at all, your own particular policy will outline that for you. So you need to bear all that in mind as well. So if you're travelling, you do want to keep hold of your receipts, particularly important if you're doing this itemised receipt system when you come back. So although conference travel is amazing, I love it, it's great fun. I love getting to present my research to an international group. I love the feedback. It's also, just worth taking a step or two back and thinking, okay, what preparation work do I need to do in order to sort my travel documentation out? And actually, when I'm out there, what things do I need to make sure I'm collecting? And very importantly, it's making sure that you are insured when you're taking that trip. On one of my very first experiments in France, I actually ended up in the hospital. I had stitches put into my chin. So having insurance when you're traveling, I think is an essential necessity. And again, different industries, different universities will do it in a different way. Quite often universities will have blanket policies that cover their staff and students when they're traveling, but you need to declare that you're making that trip. So quite often, in order to get a valid travel certificate, you'll have to say to your provider, I'm going between this date and this date to this location, and then that will activate your certificate for insurance for that particular point of time. And so again, when you are traveling, I always carry some emergency numbers with me. So the insurance emergency number, the hotel number, a conference number if there is one, a reach back number back to my host organisation that I'm travelling on behalf of. And I have those numbers handwritten, and I also have them saved onto my phone. It's also worthwhile taking a photograph of your passport and keeping that saved as well, because you never know when you might become disconnected from either your passport or your phone. And if you've got one but not the other, at least you've got a copy of your passport. But let me know, are you doing lots of travel this season? Have you got a busy summer of travelling? Is it proving too expensive with your research grants? And are you actually going to try to save the money and go to more events, maybe either in an online form or not travel so much this year? Let me know what travel you've got coming up. I hope things are going well for you. We've got the next live stream on the 15th. So I hope to see you on the 15th of June for that. But in the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye.